Hi everyone. So we'll continue with direct and indirect speech, and today we are going to cover the changes in the adverbs. Now, if you're changing from direct speech to indirect speech, what things you have to keep in mind regarding adverbs, we'll cover that today. So it is very easy, but you have to learn it. For suppose what you have to keep in mind that this changes to that, today changes to that day, these changes to those, now changes here changes to there, tomorrow changes to the following day or the next day, yesterday changes to the previous day or the night before, tonight changes to that night. Now, keeping these changes in mind, now we are going to change from a direct speech to indirect. Now, consider this example. He said, I shall discuss this matter next week. Now, first, tell me the changes you're going to make. First, you have to remove the comma and the double quotes, and you have to introduce that. Then, secondly, you have to make change in the pronoun I. Then, thirdly, you have to make change in the model shall, and then you have to make changes in this matter. Will change to that matter. Next week will change to the following week. So it will be he said that he would discuss that matter the following week. Another example, let us consider. She said we shifted to this house 2 weeks ago. So she said that they had shifted to that house 2 weeks before. Clear? So these are the changes you have to make in case of adverbs. Whenever you find an adverb in your sentence, you're going to make changes accordingly. Now, moving on to the interrogative sentence. What if your dialogue or your speech ends with a question mark? So, said to will change there to asked. Why? Because you are asking a question. So, that you have to remember. Now, what other things you have to keep in mind? That in a direct yes or no question, reporting was changed into ask, inquire, and if or whether. For example, she said, are you writing a poem? Are you writing a poem can simply have this question can simply have its answer in yes or no. Are you writing? Yes, I'm writing, or no, I'm not writing. So whenever such questions are asked which can have their answer in yes or no, so what you have to do, you have to introduce whether or if in your indirect statement. Another thing which you have to keep in mind is that said will change here to asked. So it will be she asked me whether I was writing a poem. Let us consider one more example. I said to him, do you know when she will go home? So do you know when she will go home? Answer can be yes, answer can be no. So in such questions, what you have to do, you have to introduce if or whether, and said to will change to asked. And always remember that whenever there is an interrogative sentence and whenever you introduce asked there, do not write that in your indirect statement. We are not using that here. So it will be I asked him if he knew when she would go home. Now now let us consider the questions which will not have their answer in yes or no, like what is your name, where do you live. Such questions never have their answers in yes or no, but they will have a particular answer to it. Now, let us consider an example. Where do you live? She asked me. She asked me where I lived. The only thing we are doing is we are changing the position of the noun or pronoun and the verb. See, whenever we pose a question to someone, we place verb in the beginning. Like, for example, is it raining? We are placing is verb in the beginning to make it a question. But if I have to make it a normal assertive sentence, I'll say it is raining. I will place the verb in between after the noun. So same thing you have to do when you change from direct to indirect sentence in such sentences. For example, where do you live? She asked me. She asked me where I lived. So we've changed the position of the noun and the verb. Noun is placed before the verb in the indirect sentence. Another example, he asked, how do you write poems? He asked me how I wrote poems in the past tense. Clear? So that's all for today. Next we'll cover in the next video.